We are going to talk about how object-oriented concepts work in C# language. These slides contain abstraction, access modifiers, object references, composition of an object as main topics. First, we are going to talk about abstraction. Abstraction is the ability to generalize an object as a data type that has a specific set of characteristics and is able to perform a set of actions. Then, object-oriented languages provide abstraction via classes. Class define the properties and methods of an object type. The abstraction classes have the following features. An abstraction class cannot be instantiated. Next one is abstraction class may contain abstract method and accesses. It is not possible to modify an abstract class with the sealed modifier because the two modifier has opposite meanings. A sealed modifier prevents a class from being inherited and the abstract modifier requires a class to be inherited. A non-abstract class derived from an abstract class must include actual implementation of all inherited abstract method and accesses. Use the abstract modifier in a method or property declaration to indicate that the method or property does not contain implementation. You can see method declaration is in abstract class. Abstract method declarative are only permitted abstract class. You can see there is no method body. This method declaration simply ends with semicolon. And there are no curly brackets following the signature. The implementation is providing by an overriding method overloading which is member of a non-abstraction class. When you use abstract method, you cannot use static or virtual modifiers. It gives an error. Also, you cannot use the abstract modifier on static property. You should mention about these things when you implement abstract class or methods. An abstract class must provide implementation for all interface members. An abstract class that implements an interface might map the interface methods onto abstract methods. When we look at these examples, there has interface called I. Within that interface, you can see void a method. Then next you can see abstract class in here. That class inherited from interface I. So we can call this method using public abstract void m. This means abstract class that implements an interface might map the interface methods onto abstract method. Then we move to next slide. Next slide contains access modifiers. Access modifiers are keywords used to specify the declaration accessibility of a member of a type. There are 5 types of access modifiers: public, private, protected, internal or friend, protected, internal. First we look at public access modifier. Public is visible to everyone. A public member can be accessed using an instance of a class, by a class internal called, and by any descendant of a class. Look at this figure, you can simply understand the things what we say. This is the public access modifier using the class and method. We use public class bicycle and public void paddle. So this method we can use any class, any methods inside the any methods and inside any class. So we go next slide. Private. Private is hidden and usable only by the class itself. No code using a class instance can access a private member directly, and neither can a descendant class. The example is class rectangle. Inside the class we identify private int width, and this height also private. So we can't access this width and height in different class or different methods. Inside this body only we can use these two data. Then next slide. Public members are similar to private ones in that they are accessible only by the containing class. However, protected members also may be used by a descendant class. So, members that are like to be needed by the descendant class should be marked protected. Then we move to example that has point class has contained two variables called protected int x and protected int y. Then you can see main class here and main method. Within the main method they created object called derived point. So this direct access to the protect members when you use this depoint.x. Depoint.x means we can access this protect method, protect data, and depoint y is equal to 15. That's we use this one. When we simply type this program and compile, you can see output like this. Okay, next we move internal of friend. Internal of friend is public to the entire application but private to any outside applications. Internal is useful when you want to allow a class to be used by other applications, but reserve special functionality for the application that contains the class. Intern is used by C# and friendly by VB.NET. Example: this is a public class, class 2. Inside this class it has internal void test, internal method. This public type with internal member. Then move to next slide. Protected internal. Protected internal may be accessed only by a distant class that's contained in the same application as its base class. You use protected internal in situation where you want to deny access to part of a class functionality to any descendant class found in other application.